Hi, this is Shay Jackson with Hype Math. In today's video, we will be discussing what type of questions did my fourth grader have on their STAR Math test. Let's get started. Your first question, or the first question that may have popped into your mind is, why do I need to know that information? And my response will be, knowledge is power. Having an understanding of the math areas and concepts that your fourth grader was required to learn, just to get a little information. You may not know how to solve the problem or find the answer, but at least having an idea so that when you get their STAR Math results and you see meets grade level and you're excited and you're saying yes, but pay attention or look at the highlighted red box. For Category 1 and Category 4, the student scored 0 of 4 for numerical representations and relationships and 0 of 7 for data analysis and personal financial literacy. And in this example, sure, it's saying that the student met the grade level. However, it's very clear that there are some math areas and concepts that they're struggling in. And if not addressed as soon as possible, the summer is a great time, and even during their upcoming 5th grade year, they will continue to struggle more if a good solid foundation isn't built for those concepts. The 4th grade STAR Math test was separated into 4 categories. They are the following: numerical representations and relationships, geometry and measurement, computation and algebraic relationships, data analysis, and personal financial literacy. Just to give you an idea, the STAR test is based on TEKS, which stands for Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. I have another video that I will provide the link in the description box entitled Understanding My 4th Graders STAR Math Results, where it goes into the STAR Math test, the STAR test, a little bit more. But concerning the TEKS, it's the concepts and skills that the state of Texas believes a 4th grader needs to learn in order to be successful for that current grade level and also for the upcoming year. TEKS are divided into 2 standards: readiness and supporting standards. Let's take a look at the difference. So for readiness, these are the essential skills the 4th grader needs for success, and they are important for getting them prepared for the 5th grade year. They support college and career readiness, and they also address broad and deep concepts, skills, and ideas. For supporting questions, these are introduced or reinforced for the current grade. However, they will be re-emphasized in subsequent years. They play a role in preparing the student for the next grade level, but they're not the central role. And lastly, they address more narrowly defined ideas. And so here's the theory, but what we are going to do is go over each category and you will see 2 sample problems and that TEK for each category. So stay with me. For numerical representations and relationships, here we see the readiness standard and also, the readiness standard and also the supporting standard. Let's take a look at some readiness standards. TEK 4.2b, and let's take a look at our readiness standard. That's the first TEK in the readiness standards chart. It is represent the value of the digit in whole numbers through 1 billion and decimals to the hundreds using expanded notations and numerals. Our sample problem says, which statement about the number 726,403 and 9/100 is true. Again, let me read that number again. 726,483 and 19/100 is true. So what the student had to do is look at the answer choices to see what value, what digit has the correct value in parentheses. Let's look at one more readiness standard. TEK 4.2G, relate decimals to fractions that name tenths and hundredths. Our sample problem says Estelle shaded the model below to represent the height of a building that is 4 8/10 meters tall, or 4.8 meters tall. Which fraction represents the height of this building in meters? So again, the student had to look at the problem and choose the correct answer. A better question is, do you know the right answer? If you said A, you're correct. Let's move to a supporting standard. TEK 4.2C, compare and order whole numbers to 1 billion and represent comparisons using the greater than, less than, or equal to sign. We have a table. The table below shows the length of the railway network in each of 5 countries. There's a chart given, or a table given, that shows the country and the length of the railway in meters for each country. And the question says, which list shows these countries in order from shortest to longest railway network? Okay. Let's look at another supporting standard. This is our last one. TEK 4.3A, let's take a look. 4.3A is in our supporting standards chart, and it says represent a fraction AB as a sum of fractions 1 over B, where A and B are whole numbers and B is greater than 0, including when A is greater than B. Our sample problem says the fraction 3/8 can be represented by this expression, 1/8 plus 1/8 plus, and we have a question mark. Which fraction can replace the question mark to complete the expression? And the answer choices are given. Let's move on to computations and algebraic relationships. Here is our readiness and supporting standards table. Let's go to our sample problems. Okay, TEK 4.4H is a readiness standard. It says solve with fluency 1- and 2-step problems involving multiplication and division, including interpreting remainders. Our sample problem says Eric has 158 action figures to put in display cases. Each display case can hold 8 action figures. How many cases does Eric need to hold all his action figures? Here are our sample choices. So for this is a one-step problem, but the student has to know how to divide. Okay. Let's look at another readiness standard, 4.5A. Represent multi-step problems involving the 4 operations, that's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, with whole numbers using strip diagrams and equations with a letter standing for the unknown quantity. Our sample problem says a factory makes 400 refrigerators every day. The factory makes 125 more stoves per day than refrigerators. Which equation can be used to find X, the total number of refrigerators and stoves the factory makes in one day? Do you remember having algebra type problems in 4th grade? I don't. But again, as I was saying before, having an idea of the types of questions your student is required to learn and is learning it helps you to walk alongside them. So you don't have to know the answer, because I don't know the answer to all math problems. But what you can do is just show them that you're willing to support them, even if you have a fear of math or you didn't like math when you were in school. Even just Googling TEK 4.math, TEK 4.5a, and finding problems or information to see how you can better help your child. Or what you can do is contact Shay Jackson with Hype Math, and we can walk alongside your child together to help them have a successful math career past the 4th grade. All right, let's look at a supporting standard. TEK 4.4d. Use strategies and algorithms, including the standard algorithm, to multiply up to a 4-digit number by a 1-digit number and to multiply a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. Strategies may include mental math, partial products, and the commutative, associative, and distributive properties. Our sample problem says a basketball team plays 82 games each year. How many games will the team play in 25 years? So this is again one-step problem, and this is a 2-digit by 2-digit, I got tongue-tied, 2-digit number that the students have to multiply and find the answer. Let's look at one more supporting standard, TEK 4.4f, and let's take a look again. And I'm just clicking back just to show you that yes, the TEKs that we're showing that are for readiness and supporting standards, they are required for 4th grade. And if you notice, 4.4f is the TEK right above the last one. Let's look at the details. Use strategies and algorithms, including standard algorithm, to divide up to a 4-digit dividend by a 1-digit divisor. There are 1,092 people who work in an office building. The building has 4 floors, and the same number of people work on each floor. How many people work on each floor? So your student, your 4th grader, would have to know how to divide a 1-digit number by a 4-digit number. We're halfway there. Let's move to geometry and measurement. Thank you for sticking, continue to stay and sticking in there even though your eyes may be glassed over right now. It's for the children. Okay. Here is our readiness and supporting standards table. And let's look at some sample problems. For our readiness standard, TEK 4.5d, solve problems related to perimeter and area of rectangles where dimensions are whole numbers. Our sample problem says, use the ruler provided to measure the length and width of each rectangle to the nearest centimeter. What is the difference between the perimeters of these rectangles in centimeters? So first of all, your child would have to know how to find the perimeter. And finding the perimeter is just adding all sides of each rectangle. And then after that, so this is a 2-step problem. So after that, so number 1, they have to find the perimeter of each rectangle, and then they have to find the difference, okay? Another readiness standard, TEK 4.7c, determine the approximate measures of angles in degrees to the nearest whole number using a protractor. Our sample problem says, what is the measure of angle XYZ to the nearest degree? And the student looks at the protractor and answers the question correctly. Okay, let's look at some supporting standards. TEK 4.6b, identify and draw one or more lines of symmetry if they exist for a 2-dimensional figure. In our sample problem, it says, which figure appears to have exactly one line of symmetry. So the student would have to understand what lines of symmetry mean and then look at the answer choices to choose it. One more supporting standard. TEK 4.8a, identify relative sizes of measurement units within the customary and metric system. Our sample problem says Garrett has a baseball and a bat like the ones shown in the picture. Which measurement best describes the length of the bat? So students looking at the bat, they have to have an idea of units of measurement when it comes to length in order to answer the question correctly. Last category, data analysis and personal financial literacy. Okay, we see the readiness and supporting standards. Let's take a look at some sample problems. TEK 4.9a, represent data on a frequency table, dot plot, or stem and leaf plot marked with whole numbers and fractions. Our sample question says, the list shows the lengths of 12 strings in inches. Here is our list of lengths. Which plot represents the data in the list? So for our answer choices, we have dot plots and also stem and leaf plots for the answer choices. And your fourth grader had to choose which one is correct. Let's take a look at another 4.9a. This is a readiness standard because if you notice, for data analysis and personal financial literacy in our table, 4.9a is the only readiness standard. Okay. Oh, I apologize. Let me go back up. A candy store sells fudge by the pound. The dot plot shows the number of customers who bought different numbers of pounds of fudge on Saturday. So the student is given the dot plot. The question is, which frequency table represents the same data shown on the dot plot? Okay. Two more examples. Thank you for staying in there with me. This is the one I gave you a sneak peek on. The supporting standard TEK 4.9b. Solve one and two step problems using data in whole number, decimal, and fraction form in a frequency table, dot plot, or stem and leaf plot. The sample problem says, the frequency table shows the favorite school lunches of some students. The table is missing the information for the number of students who chose a hamburger. The number of students who chose a hamburger is half the number of students who chose pizza. How many students chose a hamburger or chicken as their favorite school lunch? So for this problem, this is also a two-step problem. So first, the student had to find the number of students who said they like hamburgers as their favorite lunch. So that's the first step. Then the second step, the students had to add the number of students who liked hamburgers and also the number of students who chose chicken, add them together to find their answer. Last sample, supporting standard TEK 410a. Distinguish between fixed and variable expenses. Yes, this is fourth grade, ladies and gentlemen. Some people borrow money to buy cars. They have to make car payments to pay back the money they borrowed. What kind of expenses are most car payments? So the student has to look and see, number one, the variable, and the answer choices is either a variable or a fixed expense, and they have to know the definition of those type of expenses in order to solve the question in order to answer the question correctly. As again, I said that was the last example. Thank you so much for walking along in this video. If you fell asleep, it's okay, you can wake up. Our freebie is the fourth grade readiness and supporting standards and also accompanying sample questions. Lastly, Hype Math will have a summer math enrichment program for rising 4th to 9th graders, and it will be rolling out on June 18th. Just to give you an idea, it's over the categories we just discussed to drill down a little bit more so that your 4th grader will be prepared to be a rock star, not only in 5th grade math, but also on the STAR Math test. There will be another video kind of outlining the STAR Math enrichment program. Thank you so much again for staying to the end of the video. Hit the subscribe button. This is Shay Jackson with Hype Math. Talk to you later.